G'day guys, welcome back to SuperCoach with DR and welcome to the round 6 review. Look, it's pretty hard rocking up again this week. The SuperCoach Gods are not happy with me. So that means one thing, this week I'm going to have to give another sacrifice. So I do have some objects or items in mind, but if there's anything that you can think of, any items that you think maybe the SuperCoach Gods will appreciate, let me know down there in the comments section. But yeah, look, something needs to happen, something drastic is needed, and I think that's what it is. I need to suck up to the SuperCoach Gods, give them some offerings, and hopefully get some luck again, because the side at the moment, I think it was only 2 weeks ago, I said that I'm in a really good position, I think now. I like how the side is. I was ranked 850 odd from memory, certainly inside the top 1,000, and then within 2 weeks, I'm now outside the top 1,000, 21-1-1, down 926 spots just this week. I think I'm still in the top 1% overall. I'm not sure if you are in the 2000s or you're pushing the top 2%. I'll have to check that out. But with a round 6 rank of 30,200, then you can't expect to be going up in these rankings. And unfortunately, I think a really good rank, so we're talking, top 1 to 500, is going to be out of reach this year. The reason for that is the fact that I think that some of the pods that I've got in my side, or not really pods, but players that aren't highly owned, even, players like your Tom Mitchell types, they're going to go right down in price and be an easy trade in. For anyone that hasn't got Dusty, easy trade in at a really, really cheap price. And I'll talk a lot more about this in the stock market video. That's going to be a huge one this week with all of the wacky outs and injuries that we've got. That'll be a big one, so we'll get onto that as soon as possible. But we'll stick to the round review for now. I'll talk about a couple of my trade plans. I'm still not sure about what's going on this week. I need to get my head around it, and I will do a bit more research before the stock market as well. But at this stage, Dunkley's definitely got to go out. Dusty, you got to keep, I think. But we have heard recently that he's been carrying around a foot injury for the last couple of weeks, so that would have been nice to know. But I can understand why clubs don't want this news to come out at all. But yeah, it's going to be a tough week and a tough couple of weeks for some teams, I think. Even the Lockie Neal News, sorry, that's a tough pill to swallow, particularly for anyone that bought him in this week. I did recommend just to wait one more week, see how he goes against Carlton. Hopefully you took that advice. But if not, if you brought the great man in, that's just some terrible luck, and you'll definitely need to trade him out as well. So players like Goulden, are they ready to chop? Maybe just want to wait him out because he's got a really big ceiling and he can come back. Lots of big decisions to be made in the next couple of weeks. But let's get into the round review and see how these boys actually went. I'll tell you what, it's not too good. So I'll keep this pretty short and simple because I will go into a lot more detail in the stock market video this week. But my captain was Jordan Ridley. Obviously did not play. You'll see a few of those in my side, particularly on the bench, which is going to be really, really tough for cash generation, unfortunately. But Ridley was a big loss this week. You can usually lock him in for a 120 plus score. And his replacement was one of my new trade-ins this week. I don't know if you caught my video. I think it was on Friday that I put out, just outlining a couple of my trades. And 39, well, you probably don't expect a heap more from Mansell, but yeah, just unlucky to have Ridley out. He'll hopefully come back this week. The Seagull, 106, anything 100 plus, I'm pretty happy with for my defenders at this stage. So average of 106.5, basically right on the mark there for him. Tommy Stewart, 109. Again, if you look at that average, 109.2. So I did say last week, a really safe option. Was my best buy in the back line. I said he'll go from an 85 to 110 most weeks, and he hit the higher mark of that this week, which is always nice. A couple of really good weeks from Tommy there, and a low break even also this week. Jaden Short, extremely disappointing, a 61. I had the safe on houses pick on him a few weeks ago, and I apologise for that because I just did not see this one coming. Maybe Hooley has more of an effect on him than what I first thought, but I'm hoping that he's just out of form and he'll get back into gear. But starting to definitely have some concerns now, and that average is all the way down to 94.7. Certainly had him for 105 plus this year. There's still time to get there, but I think probably closer to 95 to 100, maybe what our expectations are for Short. Hopefully I'm wrong on that though. Jordan Butts, 58. Well, again, his average is 59.7, so about what he was projected to average there. I want him off the field ASAP, but if you look at the bloke next to him, Heath Chapman, who I much prefer on field, he only punched out a 36. So all of a sudden, his cash gen is not looking great, and maybe even a trade out option for us in the next week or two. We'll have to see how we go there. Mansell, 39, as I said. I wasn't rapt to bring this bloke in. Don't rate his job security. Don't rate his scoring potential. But it did allow me to get Sam Walsh in the midfield. I had planned originally, as you know, as everyone pretty much was, on getting Lachie Jones in. But that couldn't happen. Out for a month with a syndesmosis injury. So Mansell was that bloke. It was either him or McCreary that was going to come in. And I thought that with McCreary, I could pair him up with Brayshaw. Didn't have enough for Sam Walsh, so I just thought that makes sense. I'll get Mansell in because I'm desperate to get some absolute quality into my midfield, and that is Sam Walsh, I think. Wrapped with that trade. Tommy Highmore, geez, the Saints aren't travelling too well at the moment. Joyce didn't set the world on fire. Hopefully Highmore comes in for that bloke. I just don't know what's happening with Highmore. Really tempted to trade him out, but you know the week that you do, the next week he's going to come back. It's just Murphy's Law. So I'm holding on to him and just praying that he gets a game soon and performs half decently. Into the mids, Piggy Oliver. Yeah, again, a 114 score. Right with Piggy. If you don't have him, he's still at a really attractive price. I say jump on to Oliver. Zachy Merritt, 116. So the second decent score in a row. I still think that it was better than a 116. I don't know. Champion data don't like this bloke, and 110 average, that's okay. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't love the pick. I don't love the pick, but happy to have him in the side when you look at some other blokes that I've got currently running through there. Walsh was my new trade-in this week, so I did go to the Carlton-Brisbane game. Actually, I better insert this. And it was really funny because you obviously want Brisbane to win, but you also want Sammy Walsh to score really decently. So the best of both worlds there for me on Saturday afternoon. So 130, kicked a nice goal as well. I was watching it and just sailed through. I thought, you little ripper, but Carlton are getting closer. So mixed emotions about that. But wrapped with a 130. I think he's going to be a top 10 midfielder this year. Sam Walsh, as I said, was really keen on him all pre-season. Not all pre-season, but I did put out a video on him recommending him as a buy this year or a starting option this year. And I'm glad that I finally got him in the side. I don't think that he'll let you down too often, Sam Walsh. Rory Laird, 111. This is more what we want from this bloke. So had a couple of average weeks, but then bounced back with a 110 plus. So if he can do that each week from now, I'll take that, and I'll be really happy with that from Laird. I'm not going to rag any more on Tom Mitchell because I already spoke about it. You know, I was wrapped actually at halftime because only 10 possessions and 50 points, but ends up on a 90 again, a sub 100 score. I got him at, I think it was about 610,000 for an average of 135, and then what is he now? 527,000. So he's almost lost 90k. And what do I get him in average? I think it was close to a 95, I think, from memory, that I've got him in for an average. So buy him for 135, you're copying a 95 average from him for 5 games. It's just not good. So don't bring this bloke into your side. Just wait till he gets to the 400 mark or somewhere near there. I'm not sure that he'll get that low. He won't get that low, I don't think, but he's just not an attractive option at the moment, and I'd just be looking at other blokes in that position. Tommy Powell, thank God for this bloke. Another 96 coming off, I think it was 101 the previous week. 325, so you wouldn't have believed a couple of weeks ago that he'd be more than Goulden at this stage, and Tommy Powell, absolutely wrapped to have this bloke in the side. He'll be staying in there for a very, very long time, I think. Golden as well, he could be on the chopping block this week. That break even is starting to get pretty high. But again, he's one of those blokes, and I think I mentioned this in the introduction, that he does have a really, really big ceiling. So at this stage, with some of the injuries that I've got anyway, I can't afford to trade him out. But I could see the reasoning behind if you wanted to this week, if you're in that lucky position. James Jordan, if you had traded him out a couple of weeks ago, you'd be kicking yourself now because he's really bounced back. Another 82 this week after a 70-odd, close to an 80-odd last week, I think it was. So 241,000. He's now in the negative break-evens. He'll hopefully make us some nice cash because we go to the bench now and we see Berry there, didn't play. Fife's always going to be that loophole for me. Scott, good with the 66. So I'm quite happy from a 66 with Scotty each week, and he somehow just finds his way in the 22 each week. So I've been really, really happy with the Scott selection, and he'll now start to generate some okay cash for us, I think. Where am I going there? Sorry, all over the shop at the moment. All right, so into the ruck. So, geez, you can't complain with this, can you? Big Maxi and Brodie Grundy. So I actually had Maxi as my vice captain this week, and I was going to go into Grundy if that failed for some reason. So, I lost 6 points there. You're not in any way going to risk a 147, particularly for Max Scorn. So, wrap from him. If you don't have him, he's just killing you at the moment, and thank goodness that I do have him, as I said. Grundy, 153. Again, absolutely wrapped. He wasn't coming up against the best opposition, but Big Peter, he ended up going forward, kicked a little bag there, and Phillips performed pretty well, I think, in the ruck. Was pretty admirable, I think, coming up against Grundy, but 153, really nice score from him. 124 for the year on an average. That's pretty good. Flynn, 70, but still making some cash. Do you hold him all the way up into the buys for cover? Do you get rid of him sooner? Well, with some of these half-dead rookies, maybe you will have to get him out sooner rather than later. Dunkley, oh man, this is just a killer, isn't it? I suppose the only, well, not blessing here, but the only half-lucky thing we've got is the fact that he was already on a really decent score before he injured himself. But if you would have had the vice-captaincy on him, for example, you've probably missed out on a 150 score there, which is really disappointing. But the most disappointing thing is that he's basically gone for the season, we're assuming. Certainly, yeah, it won't be back in the short to medium term, I don't think. And hopefully, for the dog's sake, he can be back before finals. Get a run for a couple of weeks. I don't think we'll be able to bring him in. I wouldn't be anyway after such a long layoff. You never know what this man could come back and do, but he's just one of those players that you have locked there for the whole season. You're up, you've got him. I started with him, and now this happens. It's just shattering news. And for Dunkley, himself, and for the Dogs, yeah, just really, really tough luck. So shattered about that, and unfortunately just do not like any of the other forward options. So we'll just have to see how we go there. Zeeble, 169. This bloke is absolutely off tap, SuperCoach-wise. Gets criticised from time to time about his defensive efforts, but look, for SuperCoach, he's an absolute gem. I cannot believe that he's most likely going to be our F1 for the year. That is absolutely insane, Jack Zeeble. But yeah, just wrap that I started with him. This is, no one could have expected this. So, Dusty. So again, I've actually bought him in for an average of 62. Lost about 80 grand on him. And I was going for Dusty because I wanted to play safe. It's just been anything but. It's been an absolute train wreck of a trade. Could not have been worse, and I suppose what I thought the worst result could be. It's just been absolutely shattering. So, yeah, lost 80k on him. I got him in for an average of 135-ish, I think it was. And to get in at an average of 62, that's just, yeah, destroyed my ranking. So, yeah, I wish I hadn't have gone for him and gone for the more risky option at the time in Tex Walker, because my ranking would be completely different. And yeah, it's just been a real failed pick, Dusty. Concussed in round 6 and won't be back this week. And as I said, he's apparently running with some foot or ankle, something around the leg area. And I don't even know if he's only going to have the 1 week off. It may even be 2 weeks, but I'm hoping that it's not. I can't afford to trade him out at this stage. I've just got to cop that massive price drop. And if you haven't got Dusty, then yeah, you're licking your lips at that proposition when he comes back. Impy keeper, 105. I'm calling it now. Absolute keeper for me. Will not leave my side unless injury, which I hope bloody doesn't happen. And Chad Warner, 73. Just absolutely love this bloke. Again, not interested in getting rid of him. I'm just going to keep him for as long as possible. Maybe flip him towards the buys, or to be honest, I may even have to just keep him in for the whole year, because I'm now getting concerned that it's going to be really tough to complete a side this year. Well, from my position anyway. Jimmy Rowe, I mentioned last week that I have not fielded him for the whole year, and I did say the week that I'll field him, he'll get a low score, punches out at 27. So I hope he doesn't get dropped this week. I'm really worried because Zeeble had a slight injury concern at the end of the game. Dunkley's gone. You obviously got to trade him out, though. Martin's gone this week. Brockman, Waterman, both didn't play. Look, I don't think Harrison Jones has been setting the world on fire, so hopefully they give the young fella a rest. and Waterman comes in. But the fact that 2 metre Peter played so well up forward, Phillips obviously had a solid game in the ruck. That's not good for Waterman, and I'm really worried about this. And Ben Rutten, damn you, because you said he's an integral part of your 22 a week or two ago, and we thought, beautiful, great job security. He'll hopefully get up to 200k at least in the next few weeks, but he's stuck on 148. I don't know when he's going to come back into the side. Major concerns around this forward line at the moment. And the other big issue is the fact that I just do not rate any of the other forward options that we've got. I will talk about that a lot more in the stock market video, but at this stage, there's just no one that's really catching my eye. So trade-wise for this week, I am absolutely all over the shop. Now, my first thought was, let's just get Jack Macrae in. This is my chance now that Dunkley's out of the side to just grab Jack Macrae, because he's been killing me. I don't have enough as it is, but I'm also planning on getting his younger brother, Finn Macrae, this week. So, look, Finn hasn't been scoring that well. Low time on ground. I rate him as a player, so I'm hoping that Collingwood persevere with him and continue to play him, but there's no guarantee about that. But at the same time, because I rate him, we all rated him pre-season, had him in our sides. DPP status, which I think is going to be really handy. I'm pretty much set on bringing him in this week. So I will have a look at the other options that are available. I don't think there's anything great this week. Next week is a bit of a different situation. But at this stage, I'll just survey how things go. But Finn Macrae is most likely coming in. So that would then allow me to get Jack. The issue with that is that it's going to be really tough for me to upgrade in the next few weeks, because all these DNPs did not play. So Highmore, when does he come back? We've been waiting from round 3 basically. Berry did not play. Does he make his way back into the side? I'm not too sure. Fife's a loophole, obviously. Brockman did not play. I don't think he performed too well in the VFL either. I've got a couple of mates that are Hawk supporters, and they sent me a text on the weekend going, nah, not looking good, did not perform well. So I'm not sure what that meant. I don't know what his possession count was. I'll have to look into it, but doesn't look like he'll get into the side anytime soon. Waterman I've already talked about, it did not play. So this is the issue for me at the moment. If I go straight to a Jack Macrae, I've got bugger all in the bank, and I haven't got a lot of cash gen going on my bench. And I think a few teams are the same, but you'd love to have a Bergman type there even, and he wasn't looking great. Lots of people actually trade him out a little bit earlier in the season. So the other option I've got is to look for more of a value pick and keep 150 to 200k up my sleeve in order for my next upgrade. So the big decision for me is, do I go Jack Macrae or do I go someone like an Andy Brayshaw? So with an Andy Brayshaw, you're probably purchasing an M8, I think, maybe M7. With a Macrae, you're pretty much getting the best scorer in the competition. So I really don't know which way I'm going to go. Originally, I was all for Macrae. It was a non-negotiable for me. It was just a really good excuse to get him in. But then when you think about things more deeply and you think of things long-term, I'd probably... Well, and this is a question I'm still not sure about, but I'm thinking at this stage I'd probably rather a Brayshaw and maybe even a Stephen May type over Jack Macrae and a rookie that may get dropped from time to time. So that's the major pickle that I'm in at this stage. I also really like the Jared Lyons pick now that Lachie Neale's out. He's going to be our number one man. Even someone as a pod pick, maybe if you're looking at your forward line, like a Zach Bailey, I was pretty big on him in the preseason. Does he come back in to the midfield and spend some more time in there? Dane Zorko, he'll certainly come back, but I've had a trap on him in the stock market video for a few weeks during the year, and I just don't like his durability. But again, he'll be spending more time in there. And if they're looking for a tag, though, Zorko will be the one that they tag. So that's why I like the Jared Lyons pick. I just don't see him being tagged. A real pod selection, under 1% at the moment for ownership. So here's another bloke that I like. So, yeah, Macrae, Lyons, the cheaper option in Brayshaw. That's one thing that I'd really recommend this week, is to try to predict some of your future cash gen. So what are things looking like in the next 2, 4, 6 weeks? And I know it's very hard to predict because we don't know when or if any of these blokes like your Berries, Highmores are going to play or get back into the side. So it is hard, but just do your best to, I suppose, put forth your own calculations, your own predictions based on some educated guesses. Read some articles out there, go to the different club forums on Big Footy. Try to get as much info as you can. Obviously, check out the stock market video. I'll be doing a lot of that research myself before the stocky as well. But I highly recommend doing that. And then if you feel that you've just got, limited cash generation coming up in the next month, then maybe look for a value option this week. Now, I wouldn't never usually recommend to go down with a Dunkley, but if you're in a position at the moment where you look at me, 23 trades left, 21 after this week, and that's still not going to be an upgrade because I'm obviously trading out Dunkley. With 21 trades left and still at least 8 upgrades at this stage of the season, it's looking pretty dicey, and it's not like we can just go one up, one down because, the Scots, the Berries, how much cash are they actually going to make? We're still not sure. So I think it may be a case for me of looking for some value at this stage, and if I get lucky, maybe bringing in some of those top end players. But again, I'm risking not having those massive scores like the scores that McRae can give you. Even someone like a Jack Steele, he's been a little bit out of sorts lately, and out of sorts for him is still a 105, mind you. But these are all things that we've got to take into consideration when we're looking to trade out Josh Dunkley this week, or even someone like Lockie Neal if you've got him into your side. But look, I'll leave it there for now. I will go into a lot more detail about a range of players in the stock market video. Probably the forward line's going to be the big talking point this week, given the fact that Dusty's out, Dunkley's out. Some of these blokes may be ready to chop. But we'll talk about that a lot more later. I need to get my head around a few things. But let me know what you're thinking. And I may need a bit of advice from you this week because I certainly don't have all the answers. But I'll do my best to let you know what I think in the upcoming stock market video. So hope all is well with you guys. Hope your ranking's better than mine at the moment. Take care, and I'll see you again soon in the next one. Cheers, bye.